Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk Fear the Walking Dead Season 2 finale. I loved it for the most part. There was a couple parts I thought were ridiculous, and this is the problem I'm having with Fear the Walking Dead as a whole. I feel like it's being done by professionals, and every now and then, for little slivers of time, they take a break, and some amateur comes in and puts these little pieces that are just shit. I mean, absolute shit. There's no excuse whatsoever for them to find the license in that person's pocket. That is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And even if you said, well, they both had a license and Marco took the license off one and left the other, okay, that's an easy out, but it just looks dumb. That's probably the easiest out that they could take. So if that's the case, why did Marco even interrogate them? If he had the address on the frickin' license, why interrogate him? Okay, so he finds these people and he doesn't think Madison was smart enough to search them. Marco doesn't search them at all, not their bags, not their pockets, not nothing. He doesn't search them. In my eyes, I feel like if they would have sat back and thought about it, maybe they could have just scratched the license and gave Alicia something to do. She's sitting in there in the dark. Give her a flashlight. Did she have a flashlight? I don't know. Give her a flashlight and have her find like something constructed where they had a little toy bus and they had stuff drawn in sand or whatever, dirt, whatever, with rocks and, you know, old packaging from eating food and shit like that. It's set up to make it look like the neighborhood, and they had a crisscross, like an intersection with the street names. And I can already picture just seeing that Marco had him and his people, maybe his leaders who were leading each little squad. Okay, listen, we're going to come in through this way, you're going to come in through this way, make sure no one's there, and then we're going to sneak in through this way. I don't have to see them making that plan to know and put it together that that's why this is there. Then they could say, Alicia could go, hey mom, come here, and they could see the street names and they could put it together. You know what? They have to be going there. Why else would this be here? You know, it's fresh, it's dirt. If it was old, it would get kicked over, yada, yada, yada. So then they go looking and then they find it. They say, okay, here's the intersection, there's whatever. Because keep in mind, even with a direct address, you know, they're going to have to know the streets. Wait, that gets me thinking now. Even with the address, they don't have Google Maps. That's besides the point. I'm just saying I thought that moment is a perfect example of all these other moments that are just stand-out bad moments that don't make sense. They're laughably bad. It's like you get this amazing writing, and it's so intense and so great, and the characters are rocking it. And then you get these moments that are just dog shit, like characters running around with a little bit of blood on their face, or doing this, or doing that, or conveniently like Nick and Lucy, who everyone's gunned down. You know, the military men are indiscriminately gunning everyone down, except for, conveniently, they nick Lucy, don't kill Nick, because they're main characters. You can't shoot your main characters. But this ending, although I was satisfied at first, I thought about it a second afterwards, and I was thinking, wow, they backed themselves into a corner, because they really have to actually write a reason. These military guys who just shot everybody, they almost killed Nick, you know, they shot everybody, but all of a sudden they're conveniently not going to kill the main characters. They backed themselves in a corner on that finale, I believe. I'm not going to judge the finale yet. I'm not going to say it was bad, because we didn't see why they didn't kill them later. Maybe they need information, maybe they need this or this or this. I don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like they backed themselves into a corner. Now, with that being said, we have characters leaving. I don't know if this is the showrunner or a producer or somebody saying, listen, we need characters constantly separating to do bottle episodes or maybe to keep the story fresh. Something is forcing these characters apart because it doesn't feel authentic. Yes, Travis left, and I could kind of reason with his rationale that his kid's there. He has to do this for his kid and yada, yada, yada. I didn't like it. I felt like it made the character look bad. Not as bad as Nick, though. I thought Nick's was shitty. This is a kid who, you know, he's going to leave his entire family because he wants to go somewhere where the dead are treated properly, where they're not looked on as monsters. But then later we see him gutting them open. It's fine to put their, you know, cover himself in their blood, gut them open, all this other bullshit. That's fine. And slowly he starts losing this whole philosophy. The reason why he left, I mean, does he still believe that? Is he still looking for that? Did he forget about that? Why did he forget about it? He got some booty and now he doesn't care about this whole, I want to go somewhere where they're not looked on like as monsters. I mean, he left his family. That's a shitty aspect. I haven't even been able to like Nick, and he was my favorite character when season 2 started. I haven't been able to look at him and like him like that, because every time I look at him I think, here's somebody who left like a dumbass. You know what I mean? You have characters like that. You have Strand, who did it in this episode. Ophelia, I'm gonna give them a little bit of slack, because Ophelia could have a reason. You know, she's with these characters and she didn't grow that much of a connection because she's in her head and she's thinking, man, my fiance's out there, I need to know what happened to him. Sure, it was a dick move taking the car, but sure, she took the car and she bounced, so fine. You know, even though there's a little friction there, she should have said something. I mean, something. But the easy way out is to just have her leave instead of her having a conversation, yada yada yada. That's the easy way out. They wanted to craft some artificial tension, yada yada yada, whatever. Now we have Strand, who just a few episodes ago did not want to stay at the hotel. He was like, hey, listen, Madison, I'll help you clear it out, but this isn't home, whoop-de-whoop. I don't get it. Fuck it. Strand wants to stay. I thought it was out of character. As out of character like Madison, who in season 1, if you rewatch it, she was ready to say, you know what? I don't even want Nick home. She was telling Travis that. Fast forward to season 2, and she's almost getting herself and other people killed, you know, which, again, you get good story with these little bits that seem like amateur hour, where this woman walks the gringo's mother, and you want to kill the gringo. She walks up and she's like, that's my son, da-da-da-da. What would be the first thing in your mind? Well, I can take this bitch and use her as leverage, I'm sure. And he could have. I mean, damn, that's leverage. If you can't think of a way to use that now anyway, wait to use it later. So you get all these moments that are amateur hour sprinkled into some well-crafted story. Like Madison's speech to Travis. She fucking rocked it. I loved it. It was perfect. It fit her character. It fit the mood. It was just what we needed to hear. It was just what we needed the characters to tell each other. The whole, you killed to keep your family safe, you will kill again, we will kill again. That type of shit, loved it. The shit with Alicia, although it wasn't as powerful as it could have been, I think they wasted time building Alicia up, even that little bit with Hector. That was completely unnecessary. You could have, and I know they did it because of Hector and his connection with the warehouse, yada yada yada, but they could have altered the story a little bit, taken out some scenes that at the end of the day are just filler, and they could have built a connection between Alicia and Oscar's brother. Not a romantic one, but one that was refreshing, one that these are two people who were just nice to each other. And then later, Alicia can make the decision that, you know, she needs to kill this person that was nice to her and she was nice to him. Maybe she was growing fond of him friend-wise, you know? And she made the decision to kill him to save Travis, because Travis is family. So she makes that decision. And it's a hard decision to make because Travis screwed up. He made a mistake. That was a dick thing to do. But it was like a mistake in the moment, you know? It was he was beast mode, which was epic as fuck. But I still think they could have done something more powerful than what they did. Although, I'm not going to discredit how awesome I thought it was when Alicia did that. I was like, oh shit, Alicia's stepping up. And I know, they wouldn't expect Alicia to just lunge out and stab him. So yeah, maybe they weren't holding her back as strongly as they would if she was a guy, you know, or if they perceived her to be a threat. But the shit with Travis going beast mode was badass. I loved it. I loved the way they filmed that entire scene, where they had that kind of painful ringing in his ears, like he was traumatized. Oh, I loved it because it was so beautiful where they did the ringing in the ears. I believe they connected it to Chris, but they laid it over to play with Travis's scenes, almost as if Chris had the ringing in his ears from the car accident, but Travis hearing of this and not only being mad at these pieces of shit, Brandon and the other kid, for killing his son, but being furious that his son made the decision to go, being furious that this all came around full circle, which also was awesome, but being furious with himself that he just didn't grab his son out of the car. When he had the gun, he just didn't kill Brandon and the other kid. Imagine if Travis would have just killed him then and there. Later he killed him, you know, but imagine if he would have just killed him then and there, problems would have been solved. This is a man who didn't want to kill before. You can heal people and let them live, like baby James. You know, we don't need to kill him. We just give him more time, let him heal, just have patience. The flip side, it came full circle where Chris, karma is a bitch. He hurt his leg and they didn't even hesitate and they put him down. And I loved how that happened because It felt like they were setting this up to be the most predictable father-son showdown. And I love how it felt like a complete and successful misdirect, where it didn't feel like Chris would die in a flashback, And it didn't feel like Chris would die off screen. It felt like maybe they would tell him he's dead, but they don't really know. They're just saying that because they believed he was. At first I thought maybe they left him in the truck. Maybe they saw some blood and just assumed he was dead. But I think the way they did it was awesome. It's heartbreaking because Travis wasn't there. He let him leave, and he died on his own, out in the world alone with these strangers who he chose to go to. His son was sick. He made bad decisions. He was fucked up. I mean, fucking loved it. The dynamic between Chris and Alicia and Madison and Travis is something that could rip them apart, brought them together. It was, man, loved it. Fuck, I loved it. And you see what I'm saying by powerful storytelling like that, hidden with these moments where you have characters like Hector acting out of character, completely out of character. He's holding on to Oscar's hand. I don't know if we talked about this, but he's holding on to Oscar's hand. He's tearing up when Oscar dies, and he's bloodlust to go and fight Travis and kill him. And that is out of character because Oscar's the one who has been beefing with Hector this entire time, since the very start of this outbreak. What's her name? The bitch. I can't even stand her anymore. The second she was getting attitude because of what Travis did to people who she originally locked up to die in the first place. Oh, Lord have mercy. These characters and their decisions. And call them shit characters, fine. She's a shit character. It fit her character traits to be a shit person. She's just a shit person. Then you have Hector, though. That is out of character because he's sticking up for someone who took him hostage. This Oscar kidnapped him. Oscar threatened to kill him. And even though it might have been an empty threat, it seemed real at the time, and they perceived it to be a real threat at the time. Think about this now. Hector, the person who was kidnapped and his life was threatened by Oscar, is now holding Oscar's hand, crying, and they didn't build any bromance between them. Such poor writing. Hector's anger should have been given to Oscar's brother. Hector should have just went along for the ride because it was a messed up thing. And we would have understood Hector not speaking out again, to back Travis up because Travis did something wrong. Hector would know that, we would know that, and Hector would go along with it. And Oscar's brother would be enraged. It blows my mind that they did it the other way around. It didn't fit. It was like they forgot what character was what. You know what I mean? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Where they have such strong stuff happening with such amateur hour shit. And it's not just these last two episodes. It's consistent all the way through. Now, I do like what they did with Alejandro. I think we all seen that coming a mile away with the immunity thing. We know by now if you don't see it on TV, it didn't happen. If you don't see it in the show, be very cautious. Don't believe it right away. I know a lot of fans were texting immediately. Oh my God, there's someone who's immune in the world of The Walking Dead, yada, yada, yada. And I didn't believe, or I couldn't believe that fans immediately accepted that as truth without even seeing it, And that just goes to show Lucy was close enough. So yeah, obviously she believed it. And then the other people in the community believed it. So for the fans saying that it's unbelievable that they believed it, keep in mind, there's actual fans that believed it. So it's not that unbelievable. I liked it. Overall, I liked it. I think they ended the season really strong. And I really hope that they take some of the passion and the creativity and the thought process they were going through crafting the end of the season. I really wish they would apply it to all of season 3 because I'm really looking forward to season 3, but I'm really cautious as well because I felt like there was a lot of wasted time that could have been used to actually back up and make some of the story that they had crafted well to make that even better. They could have taken the wasted moments out and added them to the good moments to make them great and superior moments as far as the storytelling is going. With that being said, I think my favorite part was the Travis and Chris dynamic. I think Travis has definitely worked his way up the ranks and is now my all-time favorite character in Fear the Walking Dead. Until they do something a little bit better with Nick, I'm not feeling him. He's inconsistent and he's a shithead. Walks away from his family who had his back the entire time. Yet he cares for this tribe of people, passionately for, and he wants to save them, and he's going to bring them to this other place, which was completely and utterly foolish. Even I said it when he was looking at him through the binoculars watching the show. I'm like, well, how do you know that's going to be a good place to go? How do you know that's going to be helpful? And then sure enough, a little bit later they get shot at, Listen, there's definitely pros and cons. I would love to dissect the entire season again, especially the end, because I'm sure I'm not talking about some things I originally planned on talking about. But check the other video I'm going to post later today or maybe tomorrow. That has a more in-depth look at my thoughts and opinions about the last 2 episodes. But if you guys want a podcast on this channel just temporarily for Fear the Walking Dead, maybe 2 or 3 podcasts that are about like a half an hour long, talking about certain things, let's call them the fan feedback. Maybe we can do this for every season for Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead. When it ends, I can upload podcasts where I just put an image on the screen and then I talk in the better microphone and I sit back relaxed. I'm not so fast to try to get everything out in a short amount of time, and then this way it uploads faster and easier, and I'll be able to get it done, because with a video, for some reason the file's bigger, so it takes a lot longer. So I can do a podcast most likely for Fear the Walking Dead, a fan feedback podcast. So leave your thoughts, opinions, Q&As, anything you want to talk about for Fear the Walking Dead. Leave those down in the comment box and tell me if you want the podcast. Hit that like button so I know. If I see a lot of activity, I'll do it. If not, we'll move on to something else. Also, if you want me to do a little mini podcast on this channel, just 2 or 3, maybe at the weekends, we can do some discussions, talk about the premiere episode for season 6 of The Walking Dead, not just the premiere episode, but the entire season. A laid back, full discussion about everything to come. Leave thoughts and opinions about that as well down in that comment box if you would like me to do something like that. Now, chances are I will not be able to get a Q&A for The Walking Dead up today because I have these 2 final Fear the Walking Dead videos to do. But leave your thoughts and opinions about some of the mini, podcast videos. And the Telltale, the game stuff, I had a problem with the Roxio game capture device. It's not working. I'm going to get there, but give me some time. I promise we'll put up some gameplay stuff soon. So, thoughts and opinions down in the comment box about the season finale for Fear the Walking Dead, about this whole season as a whole, about doing a podcast for fan feedback for Fear the Walking Dead, a podcast for fan feedback for The Walking Dead Season 7, and not anywhere else. I mean, just a podcast on this channel. No video, just audio. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'll do half an hour ones. It's up to you. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.